And here's your host, and welcome back, Fred Fargher.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 1989 edition of The Morning Show. New opening, new music, new set, same tired old face. It's going to be here all year. And a lovely morning for you this morning because Australia's top international act, the Four Kinsmen, currently on tour. And they're in this part of the state, of course, and the boys agreed to come into the studio this morning. I was going to introduce them as John, George, Paul and Ringo, and they would thump me, I'm sure. So let me introduce George anyway. Graham on the outside. Graham's guitarist this morning. We have young Robert up here, the blondie.
Hello.
Ex-Pom.
Yes.
A long time ago. There's no accent whatsoever.
Oh, every now and again
it slips in, doesn't it?
Like, you know what I mean? Just a touch.
And Scott joining us too on the outside.
Hello.
You're the quiet one, Scott.
No, I'm not the quiet one, not a gentleman. Beautiful.
Well, nice to have your company this morning. You're going to do a number for us later on, but let's talk about the group because it's been, how many years now, George, it's been together?
Well, this current lineup's been together for 3 years. Scotty's been in 3.
Right.
Robert and Graham joined 7 years ago,
right.
and I joined a year before that.
Yeah. So you're the oldie.
Yeah, I'm the...
the senior sit of the group. Right.
Well, yeah. All right.
We'll leave it at
All
that.
right.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Scott, 3 years. 3 years to fit into a group like this. Is there a period of adjustment when they've worked together for so much longer?
He's adjusted up. I'm serious.
I had to get used to the ways of cleaning their shoes and washing their clothes. No, well, actually, it's been a period for me that when I first came into the group, I realised that it's what I wanted to do, and as we've gone on through the time, I've found that we've grown, I've grown, and the group, what we're presenting to the audience, has grown.
Right, but forgive me, were you a solo act before you joined the group?
No, I was really virtually an all-round entertainer. I was doing a whole lot of things.
Yep.
Yeah, I worked as a dancer. I did a little bit of song and dance in the clubs, all sorts of
A
things.
solo act in that no one else would work with.
Not very successful. We can see value.
They felt sorry for me.
No audience, just...
Now, Robert, you're both young, and you put the oomph into the thing as far as dance is concerned. Now, this is reasonably... Yes, right? Yeah. I mean, with due respect,
Yes,
George
well,
and Graham.
that's not bad.
The word respect.
Oomph was the one that
So, the act has changed in that I can remember the boys being in the studio in the original lineup and the changes from then, and it was basically a vocal act, and then the puppets were introduced, but there was certainly very little dance. So it's comparatively new?
That's right. Yeah.
When was the first time we introduced it?
Oh, it was pretty early on. The dancing
Was it?
came in because Scotty had that background,
Yes.
and his girlfriend's a dancer.
He's a slave driver,
And,
believe
we actually did a country medley. Like, I always wanted to put a country medley in because in America country is so big. It's huge.
Yeah.
And anyway, I always wanted to do a couple of Alabama songs, mainly because of the guitar, and I thought the vocal would sell. You know, the 4-part harmony is just made for the group.
Right.
And we put that in, and with the dancing, Scotty said, why don't we put a dance routine in? Initially it was going to be a guitar solo, and it still is, but the dancing, I'm just bagging the boys. So it's
So much for the respect. Up with the oomph, down with the respect.
So, and also, but Scotty, since we worked at Jupiter's last year, we did like a 3-month season, Scotty really worked on the acrobatic side of it. And he's now, he can flip, instead of being a flip, he can actually flip. Show him a flip.
Right, now you mentioned Jupiter's. You're due to open in a big production show up there again this year.
Yeah.
Some phenomenal amount of costumes you're going to be wearing to start.
Oh, it's called Hollywood Legends. It's from all the Hollywood legends from 1924.
Yeah, 24.
Right up.
Silent era.
Yeah, all the ones we remember, the respected ones remember that. And we, the whole show is built around us in that we do all different bits through the production.
Yeah.
And then we've got our own star spot, which we do. Like we do the kangaroos and everything.
Can't
do our own
would
bit.
Be sin to take them out.
Well, that's what we.
Now,
we think.
Jupiter's, for their first show, they had young ladies in a state of dishabille performing. How do you get around the juniors if you're working in a show like that?
Well, we just make sure that we get the dressing room right next to the side of the stage. That's all.
What's that?
No. Yeah, well, actually, I think the show up there. I think the show's changed a bit because I don't I think in the last one, I don't remember.
Oh,
was
right.
naked.
No, it's all very family.
very
oriented.
upmarket, right.
Whenever they do have anything that's controversial and they think that it's offending the public, for a matter of, just an example, last year they had a scene in there that was just on the borderline, and they got a few negative comments about it, and they said the rest of the show was brilliant, but for this one small scene, they pulled the whole scene out, and it was a scene that was worth tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to offend people, and because of that, they had good audiences.
Yeah, great.
It'll be one of those shows, I'm sure, when we go in too, like the way the show starts, if we come up with different ideas and they want to swap things around, we'll probably, because we've got a lot of license in there too, so that we can actually put our own ideas.
Now that was going to be the question. When you talk about ideas, is it a group situation that you've all got to agree to a specific style of something that you're going to put into the act, inject into the act, try it out, if it works?
We try to work it that we all agree with it.
Yeah.
If not, it's 3 to 1, well, that's tough. No, that's right. I'm serious about it. Yeah, we try to all like what we do, otherwise the one person's not really in favour of it, will kind of have negative vibes about it.
Rotten pizza, I hate doing that.
We all get along pretty well, don't we?
Yes.
Tell them how much you like me, Skillet.
Actually, it's I'd love sophisticated interviews. Actually, it's a good situation because not only, like, say for example, one of the last routine we did on Hey Hey It's Saturday, for example, Graham wasn't involved in the actual writing of it.
Right.
The three of us sat down one day and we put the idea together, and then Graham came in as sort of with an outside view. He sort of looked at it and said, yeah, I like it. Or he'll say, oh, no, I don't think that's funny. And then because he doesn't think it's funny, well, we just tell him, it's tough.
Right. Now, working around the world, as you've done, audiences in the Western countries, like you work in North America, they'd be similar to Australian audiences, I imagine, except they're probably a bit more charged up. They tend to get right behind you, don't they? But what about Egypt and the Canary Islands and Japan, places like that? The Japanese are notorious for sitting there and being terribly polite.
Well, I was saying before there, Freddie, when we were at Jupiter's, the first 3 or 4 rows are Japanese. And I said, why do they put them there? Because I said, because we want reaction. A lot of things they don't understand. They understand comedy, visual stuff. So that's why we are very visual. And that works from that. But a lot of the spoken, the comedy things, they don't understand at all. But you're right, they don't go over the top.
Maybe they read
don't visually go over the top.
Maybe they read the program better, and where the program says the best seats are up the back, they go, oh, right, we'll go down the other end.
Big spend. Big spend. It's all right, it's early.
You do, yes.
You're excused to the night
Hop over your mic.
It's early in the first show.
Now, the vocal harmony, which is absolutely wonderful, Big River Woman, which you're going to do for us, is a typical example of how beautifully your voice has been. And my goodness, what is your range in vocal work?
And you can hit a top F above C.
Can you?
Yeah.
That's higher than John Farnham.
Yes.
You can sing in Farnham's range and all that.
Right.
When we do this song, please put the dogs, lock the dogs in the bathroom.
I was going to ask, to work on harmony like that, I mean, you would get so used to performing every night. Is there ever a lax moment that you slip up and you think, I blew that note? Or?
Basically, it's really so well rehearsed before we actually do it in front of people that we probably could. I know at different times, I think we've all agreed like this. We're going, gee, what did I sing there? But it's obvious. It's like driving. Sometimes you drive for a long time.
That's right. And all of a sudden, where did those miles go?
But because we've done it so, until we do it on stage, it's so well rehearsed, the whole thing, that no matter under pressure, everything still works, hopefully.
A couple of things that happen in the show which are really unpredictable. Like, I know with Scott and Robert, Scott in particular, he will do something funny, like he'll do, say, a funny segment before we go into the ballad. Right. And he can get into that Jack Benny situation where he can just look and just sort of throw Robert a glance and the audience will break up. So he can't sort of predict. Unless he even if he keeps perfectly still, they're going to think that's funny. So maybe right at a poignant moment, the audience, we might get a laugh and go, what's happened?
Scott, that's got to be worth a raise.
I should think so.
Everyone to the
My
mic.
mother's been saying that.
That's why sitting on the stool.
Very good. Loads of luck through Western Victoria. I'm sure. I know that Horsham's a sellout. There isn't a seat to be available for both nights that you're working at Ducade's.
Ballarat, next Sunday?
You sure are. I'll do that while you go over to the set, or during the commercial break, just after it. I'll give them the date so everybody's aware of it. Break several legs.
Great.
And enjoy your time in this area.
Thanks.
We will be taking a break now, and then the boys will come back and sing this wonderful ballad, Deep River Woman, and I hope you can put your hands together just for a moment in front of your television set and thank the Four Kinsmen for appearing on the morning show this morning. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
very much
thanks.
indeed.
Excuse me, Fred, for 1 second. We're on the Ray Martin show on the 16th.
Oh,
please watch.
All right.
please
Oh,
watch.
yeah, there you go. You'll see the guys perform there. Will you be doing one of the up-tempo?
Hopefully be one of our
we don't
own
know,
songs.
actually. It's,
Submitted a few things.
Right, so
whatever
it's just
fits in.
whatever fits into the...
We might do a ballad with Scott standing on his head, you know, just to do a variety.
That will be something to look forward to. All
What
right.
happens every night.
Why is that so?
Thanks, Graham. Yes. Thanks very much indeed. Again, loads of luck. We'll take a break. We're back with the boys to do a number for you.